I wake up to the taste of copper in my mouth. My tongue brushes over something sharp and raw, an open sore near my molars. Did I bite my cheek in my sleep? My head pounds in time with my heartbeat, and my arms feel heavy, like I've been lifting weights all night. When I finally pry my eyes open, I notice two things at once: the sun cutting through the blinds in our apartment window, and the blood crusted under my fingernails. Not just a little either. It's packed under the nails, brown and flaking at the edges. I sit up too fast and instantly regret it. My stomach churns, and the scratches along my forearms sting as the blanket brushes them. 3 angry red marks, perfectly spaced, running from wrist to elbow like someone raked their claws down my skin. Wild night, huh? Doug's voice startles me so badly I nearly fall out of bed. He's leaning against the doorframe, a cup of coffee in one hand, smirking like he knows exactly what happened. I don't remember last night. I manage. My mouth is so dry I can barely speak. Doug shrugs. Nothing new. You were stumbling all over the place, so I got you back here. Took care of you, as usual. His tone is teasing, but something about it feels off. Doug's always been the responsible one between us. It's a running joke that he's my unofficial babysitter, not because I drink too much or party hard, but because I've had a few weird episodes, blackouts. Doctors chalked it up to stress. Pre-med classes will do that to you, they said, but this feels different. I glance at my phone to check the time and notice a missed call. No, 3 missed calls, from a number I don't recognize. Who called me? I ask, holding up the phone. Doug takes a long sip of his coffee, watching me over the rim of the mug. No idea. Did you answer it? No. Figured you didn't want to be bothered. Something in my gut twists. Doug's always been easygoing. Too easygoing, but now his casual tone grates on me. He's not acting weird exactly, but it feels like he's trying too hard to be normal. I stand up, wobbling as a wave of nausea hits me, and stumble toward the bathroom. I don't even bother responding to Doug's comments. I just need to splash water on my face, get my head on straight. But when I flick on the bathroom light and look in the mirror, I freeze. There's more blood. Not on my hands this time, but smeared across the collar of my shirt, dried in a faint, rusty streak. I don't have a single cut on my chest or neck. I pull my shirt over my head, staring at the dried blood like it's going to start moving. It's not mine. I know that much. My skin is clean underneath. No cuts, no bruises. Nothing to explain the streaks. The scratches on my arm itch like hell, and my stomach churns when I realize they don't look like random marks. They're deliberate. The spacing is too even, too precise, like someone grabbed me and dragged their nails down my arm. Doug knocks on the bathroom door. A soft tap, tap, tap. You good in there, man? He calls. I shove the bloody shirt into the cabinet under the sink before I answer. Yeah, just waking up. You were out cold when I brought you back. Thought maybe you'd need a day off. Want me to call Dr. Farrow for you? Dr. Farrow, my physiology professor. Doug always knows the right thing to say, the perfect way to smooth things over. It's what makes him a great friend, or at least, it's what used to make him great. Right now, though, the fact that he's so on top of everything makes my skin crawl. No, I'm fine, I say, splashing water on my face. The cold wakes me up a little, but it doesn't do much to settle the unease gnawing at my gut. I'll go to class later. Doug doesn't respond right away. For a second, I imagine him still standing outside the door, head tilted, listening like he's waiting for me to slip up and say something. But then he laughs. All right. You know where to find me if you need me. Oh, and Nathan, you left your shoes outside last night. They're covered in dirt, man. Might want to clean those up. I whip open the door, but Doug's already gone, back to the kitchen. I find my shoes near the front door. The soles are caked in mud, with clumps falling onto the carpet. There's a single long streak of something darker than dirt running across the toe. I kneel down to touch it before I can stop myself. It's sticky. Blood. My stomach flips, and I stagger back, my head spinning. What the hell happened last night? Doug's at the stove, scrambling eggs like nothing's wrong. He hums under his breath, something tuneless and low, as he scrapes them onto a plate and sits at the table. Do you remember anything? I ask. He looks up, blinking at me like I've asked him about the weather. What do you mean? Last night, you said I was stumbling all over the place. Where was I? Doug shrugs. Just around campus. You don't remember? No. Well, you weren't exactly chatty. It was late. I found you outside the bio building. Figured you were pulling another all-nighter and forgot to eat or something. You were kind of out of it. He shovels a forkful of eggs into his mouth and talks around it. You really don't remember? I shake my head. My throat feels tight, like it's closing in on itself. Doug leans back in his chair, tipping it onto two legs. Guess it's lucky I found you, huh? Lucky. That word sticks in my brain like a splinter. Classes are a blur. Dr. Farrell's lecture on endocrine system disorders barely registers. I keep catching myself zoning out, staring at my hands, trying to will away the memory of that blood. After class, I duck into the bathroom in the science building to splash my face again. That's when I notice it. Tiny dark flecks on my forearm, nestled in the shallow scratches. I run my thumb over them, and they smear. Not just blood. Dirt. It's like my body remembers something my brain refuses to hold on to. When I get back to the apartment, Doug's on the couch with his laptop. He's got a bag of chips open on the coffee table, and the TV's tuned to some true crime show. A woman's voice drones on about an unsolved case, while Doug stares at the screen, completely focused. Hey, I say, dropping my bag by the door. Can I ask you something? Doug glances up, raising an eyebrow. What's up? You said you found me outside the bio building. Was anyone else there? Did you see anything weird? He shakes his head. Nope. Pretty quiet, actually. You're sure? Doug gives me a look. Yeah, I'm sure. Why? I hesitate. I don't want to tell him about the blood. Not yet. Not until I know what's going on. Just trying to piece it together, I say finally. Doug smiles. Don't stress. I've got your back. Always do. It's supposed to be comforting. Instead, it sends a shiver down my spine. That night, I dream about the dirt under my nails. Only in the dream, it's not just dirt. It's fresh soil, and there's something underneath it, something soft and rotting that makes my stomach lurch. I'm digging furiously, even though I don't want to, even though I know what I'll find if I keep going. And then I hear Doug's voice behind me, calm and steady. Keep going, he says. I wake up drenched in sweat. I can't stop thinking about the dream, the dirt under my nails, the weight of the shovel in my hands, the soft squelch of the ground giving way. It felt real, too real. By the time I get to my first class the next morning, I feel like I'm crawling out of my skin. The scratches on my arm have started to scab, but I can't stop running my fingers over them. Every time I close my eyes, I hear Doug's voice. Keep going. I skip the second half of my lectures. I tell myself I'll catch up later, but really, I just can't focus. Instead, I find myself in the library, scrolling through local news articles, looking for, I don't even know what, something, anything. I'm halfway through an article about a car accident 3 towns over when a headline catches my eye. Police investigating body found near campus. My breath catches in my throat. I I click the link, my hand trembling on the mouse. The article is short, just a few paragraphs, but the words hit me like a punch to the gut. Authorities discovered the body of 19-year-old Michael Hayes, a student at the university, in a wooded area near the biology building late Monday night. Police say the cause of death appears to be blunt force trauma, but no suspects have been identified at this time. Investigators are asking for anyone with information to come forward. Monday night, the night of my blackout. I lean back in my chair, heart pounding. Michael Hayes, I know that name. He sat 3 rows behind me in Dr. Farrow's class. I didn't know him well, but we'd worked on a group project once. He was nice enough, quiet, and now he's dead. I shut the laptop and sit there, staring at the blank screen, trying to convince myself that this is a coincidence. It has to be. There's no way this is connected to me. But then I remember the blood under my fingernails, the dirt on my shoes, the scratches on my arm, and Doug's voice. Guess it's lucky I found you, huh? When I get back to the apartment, Doug is in the kitchen, humming to himself as he chops vegetables. The smell of garlic and onions fills the air. Hey, he says when he sees me. Perfect timing. I'm making pasta. You hungry? I drop my bag by the door and stare at him. He looks so normal, so completely at ease. You hear about Michael Hayes? I ask. Doug's knife pauses mid-chop. Who? From campus. They found his body near the bio building. Doug frowns, tilting his head like he's trying to place the name. Doesn't ring a bell. What happened? I cross my arms. Blunt force trauma, Monday night. Doug nods slowly, like he's piecing it together. What do you mean? You know, he waves the knife in a lazy circle. Your whole anxiety thing, getting too inside your head. Don't let this mess with you. I grit my teeth. It's not about that. Doug raises an eyebrow, waiting for me to explain. But I can't. How do I tell him what I'm really thinking? How do I say, I think I did something terrible, and I think you know what it is? Instead, I just shake my head. Never mind. Doug smiles and goes back to chopping. That night, I wake up to the sound of something thudding against my window. At first, I think I'm dreaming. The room is pitch black except for the faint glow of the streetlight outside, and my head feels heavy, like I've been drugged. The thud comes again, louder this time. I sit up, heart racing, and pull the curtain back. There's nothing there, just the empty street and the shadows of the trees swaying in the wind. But when I look down, I see something on the windowsill, something small and white, caught in the corner where the glass meets the frame. I reach out, my fingers brushing against it. It's soft, fibrous, a feather. I stare at it, confused, until I notice something else, a faint smear of red across the glass. Blood. The next morning, I check my shoes again. The dirt is still there, crusted deep into the soles. I scrape at it with a kitchen knife, trying to ignore the sour taste in my mouth. That's when I see it. Wedged into the tread of the left shoe is something small and pinkish. At first, I think it's a piece of gum, but when I pull it free, I realize it's too soft, too organic. It's skin. I drop it immediately, my stomach lurching. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely breathe. I grab my phone and open my texts. Doug's name is at the top of the list. What happened Monday night? The 3 little dots appear almost immediately, and my heart pounds as I watch them blink on and off. Finally, Doug's reply pops up. Doug, told you already. You were wasted. I got you home. Me, you're lying. The dots appear again, then stop. For a long time, there's nothing. Finally, Doug sends one last message. Doug, let's talk when I get home. Don't do anything stupid. I'm still holding my phone when I hear the front door open. The door creaks open, and Doug steps inside, carrying a grocery bag in one hand and a six-pack of beer in the other. He's whistling something tuneless under his breath, but when he sees me standing in the kitchen, the sound dies in his throat. "Hey," he says, setting the bags on the counter. "You're up early." I hold up the shoe. The tread is still caked with dirt, and the tiny scrap of skin is stuck to the counter where I dropped it. "What the hell is this?" I demand. Doug's eyes flick to the shoe, then to the counter. His face stays calm, too calm. "Looks like dirt," he says with a shrug. "It's not just dirt." My voice cracks, and I hate how shaky I sound. "There's skin in the tread, Doug. Human skin." Doug's expression hardens. He picks up a bottle of beer, twists off the cap, and takes a long sip before answering. "Nathan," he says finally, setting the bottle down with a loud clink, "you need to relax." "Relax?" I can barely keep my hands from shaking. "You keep telling me to relax, but I woke up Monday covered in blood. I don't remember anything from that night, and now there's evidence on my shoes." Doug cuts me off with a sharp laugh. "Evidence? Come on, man. You've been watching too much, CSI. I stare at him, my chest tightening. Michael Hayes is dead. I say through gritted teeth. I found out this morning. Blunt force trauma. The same night I blacked out. The same night you helped me get home. Doug leans back against the counter, crossing his arms over his chest. "And you think what? That you killed him?" "I don't know." The words burst out of me before I can stop them. "I don't know what to think because you keep lying to me. You're not telling me everything, Doug." "What aren't you saying?" For a long moment, Doug doesn't say anything. He just looks at me, his face blank, his head tilted slightly like he's trying to decide something. Then he sighs and runs a hand through his hair. "Okay," he says, his voice calm and steady. "You're right. I haven't been completely honest with you." My stomach drops. "I knew you'd freak out," Doug continues. "You've always had that guilty conscience thing, and I didn't want to make it worse. But you deserve to know the truth." I grip the edge of the counter, bracing myself. "What truth?" Doug hesitates, his gaze flicking to the window like he's checking to make sure no one's listening. Then he steps closer, lowering his voice. "When I found you Monday night," he says, "you weren't just wandering around. You were standing by the woods." "What woods?" "The ones behind the bio building. You had a shovel, Nathan." The words hit me like a slap. I open my mouth to respond, but no sound comes out. Doug keeps going, his voice slow and deliberate, like he's breaking bad news to a kid. "Your hands were filthy. You kept mumbling something about needing to finish the job." I didn't know what you were talking about, but I figured, I don't know, maybe you'd been drinking or something. I just wanted to get you out of there before anyone saw." I shake my head, backing away. "No, no, that's not, I wouldn't." "I didn't ask questions," Doug says, cutting me off. "I got you home, cleaned you up, and left it at that. Because I'm your friend, Nathan. I didn't want to see you screw up your life." I can't breathe. The room feels like it's spinning. "You're lying," I whisper. Doug's jaw tightens. "I'm not." "You have to be lying." "I wouldn't." "You think I wanted to believe it?" Doug snaps, his voice rising for the first time. "You think I wanted to think my best friend could do something like that? But I saw you, Nathan. I saw the shovel, the dirt, the blood." "Stop!" The word echoes in the small kitchen, and for a moment, neither of us says anything. When Doug speaks again, his voice is soft, gentle. "Listen," he says, "you've been under a lot of stress. The blackouts, the sleepless nights, the pressure from your classes. It's messing with your head. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying, maybe you need help." I press my hands to my temples, trying to block him out. My head feels like it's going to split open. I didn't kill him, I said. I didn't kill Michael Hayes. Doug sighs again, shaking his head like he's disappointed. Okay, he says. If you really believe that, then prove it. I look up at him, blinking. What? Prove it, Doug repeats. Go to the cops. Tell them everything. Tell them about the blood, the dirt, the scratches. See what they say. He's bluffing. He has to be. But when I look into his eyes, I feel a cold wave of dread wash over me. He's not scared. He's not even nervous. He's confident, because he knows something I don't. That night, I lie awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying Doug's words over and over. Tell them about the blood, the dirt, the scratches. See what they say. I want to believe he's just messing with me, that this is all some sick joke, or maybe even a twisted attempt to protect me. But the way he looked at me, the way he smiled, won't leave my head. Around 3 a.m., I give up on sleeping and head to the kitchen for some water. The apartment is dark and quiet, but as I pass the living room, I notice something strange. Doug's laptop is open on the coffee table. I hesitate. Doug never leaves his laptop out like this. He's practically paranoid about security, always locking it, closing the lid, making sure no one can see his screen. But now it's just sitting there, the screen still glowing faintly. I glance toward Doug's bedroom. His door is shut. Slowly, I sit down on the couch and pull the laptop toward me. The screen lights up, and my stomach twists. There's an open folder on the desktop, labeled Monday. Inside the folder are pictures, dozens of them. The first few are blurry, dark shots of the woods behind the bio building. But as I scroll down, the images become sharper. The last one makes my blood run cold. It's me, standing in the woods, covered in dirt, holding a shovel. I stare at the picture for so long that my vision starts to blur. It's me. There's no mistaking it. My face is pale, my jaw tight, my eyes hollow like I'm sleepwalking. The shovel in my hands is caked with dirt, and in the background, I can just barely make out a patch of disturbed earth. But I don't remember this. I don't remember any of it. The image is time-stamped. Monday, 11:37 p.m. My blackout started at 10. My first instinct is to delete the file, to close the laptop, pretend I never saw it, and go back to bed. But my fingers won't move. The weight in my chest won't let me breathe. I click to the next photo. This one's closer, zoomed in on my hands gripping the shovel. There's something smeared across my knuckles. Dirt and blood, maybe, though it's hard to tell in the dark. The next photo. The hole is wider now. My face is blurred, caught mid-motion, but my body is hunched over the shovel. The next. The hole is filled. I stop scrolling. My skin prickles with the sudden awareness that I'm not alone. Slowly, I glance over my shoulder. The hallway is empty. Doug's door is still shut. The apartment is silent, except for the faint hum of the fridge. I let out a shaky breath and go back to the photos. There are only 2 left. My heart pounds as I open the second to last one. It's me again, standing at the edge of the woods. I'm holding the shovel over my shoulder, staring directly at the camera. My eyes look blank, hollow, like I'm staring through the lens. I can't take it anymore. My stomach churns, and I have to swallow hard to keep from throwing up. I close the folder and push the laptop away, leaning back on the couch and pressing the heels of my hands into my eyes. This isn't real. It can't be real. Doug is messing with me. He has to be. But the photos looked so real, so vivid, and the dirt on my shoes matches what's in the pictures. I stand up, my legs unsteady, and grab the laptop. I need proof. If Doug's setting me up, I can't just sit here and let him do it. I copy the folder onto a flash drive and shove it into my pocket. My mind is spinning with plans. What do I do? Take this to the police? Show it to someone on campus? But Doug's words keep echoing in my head. Tell them everything. See what they say. What if they believe him over me? What if they think I'm the one behind it all? I can't go to the police yet. Not without more. The next morning, I skip class again. Doug doesn't say anything about it. He just waves goodbye as he heads out the door with his gym bag slung over one shoulder. "I'll grab dinner on my way back," he says as he steps out. "You need anything?" I shake my head, avoiding his eyes. When the door shuts, I grab my backpack and head for the woods. The bio building is quiet. Most students are in class, and the campus feels empty as I make my way past the brick walls and onto the dirt path behind it. The woods are denser than I remember. I don't come here often. There's no reason to, really, but something about the place feels off. The air is thick and still, and every crack of a twig underfoot makes me jump. I follow the trail deeper, past the tree line, scanning the ground for anything out of place. And then I see it. A patch of dirt that looks darker than the rest. Softer. Like it's been disturbed. I step closer, my throat tightening. There's something faintly metallic in the air, a smell that makes my stomach churn. I crouch down and press my hand to the dirt. It's packed firm but loose enough to crumble under my fingers. My heart pounds as I reach into my bag and pull out the small trowel I borrowed from the biology lab. I tell myself I'm only digging to prove this isn't real, that there's nothing here but roots and soil. But after a few inches, the dirt shifts under the blade. Something white catches the sunlight. My breath catches. I scrape at the dirt faster, panic rising in my chest as more white begins to show through. It's smooth, curved, like bone. I stagger back, dropping the trowel. My hands are shaking, and the bile rises in my throat faster than I can stop it. It's not just bone. There's something tangled in the dirt next to it. Something dark and matted and unmistakable. Hair. I run. I don't think about where I'm going, or who might see me. I just sprint out of the woods, my legs burning, my lungs screaming for air. When I finally get back to the apartment, I slam the door behind me and lock it. My hands are filthy, my nails caked with dirt, and I can't stop shaking. I rush to the bathroom and scrub at my hands until the water runs clear, but the smell of soil still clings to me. When I look in the mirror, my face is pale and gaunt, and for a second, I don't even recognize myself. I pull the flash drive out of my pocket and set it on the bathroom counter. The folder's still on there. It's proof. But what good is proof if I can't explain it? What if Doug's telling the truth? What if I really did do this? No, that's not possible. I'd remember, wouldn't I? That evening, Doug comes home carrying a bag of takeout. He sets it on the counter, grinning like nothing's wrong. "Pad Thai," he says, holding up 2 containers. "Figured you could use some carbs." I don't respond. I just stare at him, my heart pounding. He glances at me, then at my hands, which are still trembling slightly. "Rough day?" he asks, his tone light. I swallow hard. "Doug, why do you have pictures of me in the woods?" For a second, I think I see something flash across his face. Something cold and calculating, but it's gone before I can be sure. "What are you talking about?" he says, opening his container of food. "On your laptop," I say. "The pictures. Monday night. The shovel." Doug pauses, the chopsticks halfway to his mouth. "Ah," he says quietly. He sets the container down and looks at me, his expression calm. "So you saw those? Why do you have them?" I asked. Doug leans forward, resting his elbows on the counter. His smile is so small it's barely there. "Why do you think, Nathan?" Doug's text feels like a noose, tightening around my neck. "You left your knife in the woods." "I don't have a knife. At least, I don't remember having one. but the way Doug phrased it, so casual, so confident, makes my stomach churn. What if he's right? What if I did leave something behind? I stare at my laptop screen, the GPS coordinates glowing faintly against the black background. My instincts are screaming at me to stay put, to take this straight to the police and let them figure it out. But Doug's right about one thing. The photos don't tell the whole story. They make me look guilty, and if there really is a knife out there, my knife, it'll only seal my fate. I have to get to it first. The woods are quieter than they were yesterday. The air feels heavier, the shadows longer, even though it's the middle of the afternoon. I follow the coordinates on my phone, my footsteps crunching softly over the dirt path. I'm trying to stay calm, but every snap of a twig makes my pulse jump. The smell hits me first. That same faint, metallic tang from yesterday, mixed with the earthy stink of decaying leaves. It grows stronger as I leave the trail and head deeper into the trees. When I reach the disturbed patch of earth, my stomach lurches. The ground looks different than it did before. It's not just a loose patch of dirt anymore. It's been dug up. The hole is open, and it's empty. I stumble back, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. My head is spinning. Someone was here. Someone dug it up. Doug. It has to be Doug. I turn to leave, but something catches my eye, something glinting in the dirt just a few feet away. I crouch down, my hands trembling, and brush the leaves aside. A knife. The handle is black, the blade long and jagged. Dried blood stains the metal, dark and flaking. I stare at it, my mind racing. Is this mine? Did I bring this here? Did I? No, this isn't me. It can't be. But as I reach for the knife, I hear a voice behind me. Looking for this? I freeze. Doug steps out of the shadows, holding something in his hand. A phone. He raises it, and I realize it's recording. You know, Nathan, he says, his voice calm and steady. You're really not great at covering your tracks. I stand slowly, the knife still in the dirt between us. Doug, what the hell is this? He tilts his head, smiling faintly. You tell me. This is... My voice catches in my throat. You set me up. You've been setting me up this whole time. Doug laughs softly, slipping the phone into his pocket. Set you up? Come on, man. Don't give me so much credit. You've been doing this all on your own. I didn't kill him, I shout. Doug shrugs. Maybe not. Maybe you just dug the hole. Maybe you just moved the body. Maybe you don't even remember doing it. That's the scary part about blackouts, isn't it? He steps closer, his smile widening. But you know what the cops are gonna see, he continues. They're gonna see your knife, your shoes, your fingerprints all over the place. They're gonna see those photos. And when they look at you, stressed out pre-med student, failing half your classes, sleep deprived, losing time, what do you think they're gonna believe? I can't move. I can't breathe. Doug crouches down and picks up the knife, turning it over in his hands. They'll believe you snapped, he says. They'll believe you killed Michael Hayes because you couldn't handle the pressure. And they'll believe you came back here to clean up the evidence because you're guilty. He stands, holding the knife out to me. Unless, he says, his voice dropping to a whisper, you can make this go away. I stare at him, my heart pounding. What are you talking about? Doug's smile fades. For the first time, I see something raw and dangerous in his eyes. I've been cleaning up your messes for months, he says. Do you have any idea how many nights I've had to drag your sorry ass out of trouble? How many lies I've had to tell to keep you out of jail? He takes a step closer, the knife glinting in his hand. I'm done, he says. You want this to go away? You take responsibility. You make it right. I shake my head, backing away. No, I'm not doing this. I didn't do anything. Doug's expression hardens. Then you're a liability. I don't remember grabbing the knife. 1 second. Doug is reaching for me, his hand outstretched, his face twisted with something between anger and pity. The next, I'm holding the blade, and there's blood on my hands. Doug stumbles back, clutching his side. His shirt is darkening, the fabric clinging to his skin. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then Doug smiles. It's faint, barely there, but it's real. Good job, Nathan, he said, his voice strained. Now you're just like me. He collapses before I can respond. I leave the woods in a daze, the knife still clutched in my hand. I don't remember the walk back to the apartment. I don't remember washing the blood off my hands. I sit on the couch, staring at the flash drive in my lap. Doug is gone. The knife is gone. But the photos are still here. And now, they're all I have left. I don't go to the police, because Doug was right. No one would believe me. The first call comes 2 weeks later. It's a blocked number. When I answer, there's no one on the line. Just breathing. Slow, steady, familiar. Doug always did know how to cover his tracks. And now, thanks to him, so do I. It's been 6 months since Doug disappeared. 6 months since I walked out of the woods with blood on my hands, and a secret lodged so deep in my chest I can barely breathe around it. The police never came knocking. There were no investigations, no late-night calls to question me about Michael Hayes or Doug or the things I buried out there. It's like none of it ever happened. On paper, I'm fine. My blackouts stopped. My grades have improved. People smile at me on campus, ask me to study with them, invite me to parties. It's like I'm finally the version of myself I was supposed to be all along. Normal, likable, successful. But I'm not fine. Not even close. Because sometimes, late at night, I hear his voice. You're just like me now. I tell myself it's in my head, that I'm imagining it. But it feels real, too real. A week ago, I found something taped to the inside of my locker. It was one of the photos. The one of me standing in the woods, staring blankly at the camera, the shovel slung over my shoulder. There was no note, no explanation, just that single image. I tore it into pieces and threw it in the trash, but the message was clear. Doug is still out there, watching, waiting. The phone calls have started again, too. Blocked numbers, always late at night. At first, I didn't answer, but eventually, curiosity got the better of me. The first time I picked up, there was nothing but silence on the other end. The second time, I heard breathing. The third time, he spoke. Just one word. Finish. I don't know what he means. I don't know what he wants from me. But last night, I woke up with dirt under my nails again. And this time, Doug wasn't there to cover for me. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling content. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next story.